So to save you guys some of the trauma of me trying to whip up a fresh Laravel install, I went ahead and did it behind the scenes. And the only thing that I've done here is I have added just some 4 basic songs to get us started, some images, and I also have the default image so that when a user uploads, if they don't have a cover image, this one will just be the random one displayed. Fantastic. A few basic housekeeping things that I want to do. We'll go down to the webpack.mix.js. And in here, for me, it's customary to disable notifications and also to add source maps. So it'll get rid of some of those errors that we'll get in the DevTools. Okay, so that's done. Also, you want to make sure that your .env file has your database set up. I already have mine, username root, password, mine is blank, and I'm not going to name the app or anything since this is just a quick demo. Okay, so now we can go ahead and close that, and now we can go ahead and run php artisan serve and our npm run watch. So while those are running, basically what I want to do is I want to create a controller, and this controller is going to handle all of our routes. We're not going to be dealing with authentication or anything. We can get rid of these routes that are in here. Before we do that, let's go ahead and flesh out what we need. Let me go ahead and open this up so we can see it a bit better. First thing we're going to do is php artisan make model. We're going to call it song. We're going to have a migration, and for now that's good. And then we're also going to run php artisan make controller, call it song controller. We'll make it resourceful, and we will also attach the model of song. And we're also going to need a seeder. So we'll say php artisan make seeder songs table seeder, and we'll attach the model of song. Okay, maybe not. So, okay, so that's fine. Songs table seeder. We'll just leave it like that. So now we also need to run our migration. So php artisan migrate. We don't have anything to seed just yet, so we'll just run the migration. Okay, so just to give us something to look at, let's go ahead and get rid of these routes. In the first route, we're going to put route get and the controller, which is the new song controller that we just made, class index, and that's it. So let's make sure this song controller was imported up top. It is. Now let's head over to it and create a page. Go to definition. Okay, so now, as you can see, it's imported our song model. Now in here, we'll just say return inertia render. And we're just going to render the dashboard page. Dashboard, just for now. Go ahead and import inertia. And now let's go to the resources, JS, pages, dashboard page. We can close this for now. Let's go ahead and get rid of everything in here. And we'll just say H1. And then we can go ahead and get rid of this. And we can remove this for now, just so that we can see something on the dashboard page. Let's head over to the browser. We'll refresh. Cool. So we have our dashboard coming in just fine. So now, HTML actually has an audio element. And this audio element, it would basically just look like this. Audio. And there would ideally be a source in here. And then in order to be able to get it to display, we would have to add controls in the tag. Let's head to the browser and see if we can at least see that now. Okay, and we do, but obviously we don't have any music to be able to play just yet. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So down here we need data section. We're going to return an array, and I'm just going to paste some songs in here. These are pretty much the songs that we have in our storage already, and I didn't add the images, so we're just going to be dealing with the audio, the title, and the artist just for now. Okay, we'll be pulling this information from the database a bit later on, but for now we're good. So in here we can actually do songs from that data property. We're going to pick the first one, and then we also need to add the source key that's on there so that it'll play this song from our app. And let's go ahead and also put the colon over there. And this needs to be, hang on one second, let's cut this out of here real quick. This actually needs to be an object, so we need our curly brackets. And now we can go ahead and paste that back in. Okay, so now if we head back to the browser and refresh, okay, now you see there's obviously something loaded up because we have a time over here. So now if we can go ahead and click play, we have our audio. And the tracking obviously doesn't work, but we also have some volume on here. The little download button. So how we're going to handle this, we're going to take it step by step because there are a lot of complex things going on here. We are going to create some buttons, and these buttons, we're going to create them externally outside of this HTML audio element, and we are going to try to control this element with external buttons. Let me show you what I mean. Let's head back to the text editor, and we are going to add an ID, and we're just going to call it audio. Pull this up. Underneath, we are going to create, we'll just make a quick div. And then let me actually put a surrounding div in here. Take these, move them up a bit. In this div under the audio, we're going to have 4 buttons. Each of the buttons is going to have a type of button. Okay, and the first button is going to say play. No, the first button is going to say prev. The next one is going to say pause. And then the next one is going to say play. And the next is going to say next. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to add click function to each of these. Okay, so the first one we'll call prev. The next one we'll call pause, play, and next. Let's go down and create a few things. Under the data properties, we're going to create a mounted lifecycle hook. And in it, we are going to say this audio equals, we'll do document query selector hashtag audio. So under here, we can now create some methods. First one will be play. And we're going to console log play. The next one will be pause. And then we'll console log pause. We just want to make sure that these buttons are clicking and doing what we're asking them to do. So the next one will be prev. Console log prev. And the last one will be next. Console log next. Okay, so let's head over to the browser. Let's refresh, make sure we got our buttons, and let's open up our inspect tool so that we can see the console log. Okay, open up console. Okay, so we should be getting it here. You know, let me get rid of this error right here. This error is actually coming from when we install Laravel. It has in the views app.blade.php. If we come down to here, we don't need any of this. This is just a browser sync. I'll just comment it out for now, but that should get rid of that error for us. So the next time we refresh, it won't be there. So let's click prev. Okay, we get our console log right in here. Pause, play, next. Fantastic. So let's close this out. And now the audio element comes with different functions. So since we're calling it here, instead of doing play, we can do this audio play, which means that the pause now, we can do this audio pause. Let's head over to the browser, refresh, and try it again. And we are going to be using Font Awesome icons for these. These are just temporary holders for now. So now if we click play, okay, our music is playing. Pause, our music has paused. That's exactly what we want. Now we don't want these buttons displayed at the same time, so let's figure out how we're going to do that. Well, one thing that we can do is we can create something to toggle between it. So this, we'll call it is playing. And then we'll just automatically set it to false. So when we're playing, we can set this is playing equals true. And under the pause, we can do this is playing equals false. So now we can go up to the buttons and say if not is playing. And then for the play button, we'll just say be else. And that'll toggle between those two buttons. So let's go and see if that works. So now we should be seeing these alternate. Okay. And of course, I've got the logic wrong. So we'll do the if is playing be else. Okay, so now let's head back, refresh it one more time. Okay, cool. So now we have our play button. So play, pause, play, pause, play, pause. And see, when you pause it, it actually pauses it where it's supposed to be. So the next thing I want to do is I want to work on targeting these songs. I want them to display, and then I want us to be able to click through them. We're going to create another div here. And then we're going to create another button with the type button. And then on this button, we are going to loop over all of the songs. So V4, we'll put them in parentheses, song index in songs. We're going to need a key, and that key will be index. And then in here, we are just going to have a span tag with the song title. And then we're also going to need the song artist. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we have now. We'll go over to the browser, we'll refresh, and let's go ahead and display that as a column just so that we can see it a bit better. Class equals flex, flex. Oh, we're going to be changing up a lot of these classes. I'm just keeping it really simple just so that we can make sure we can target the audio element. So now we can go back, refresh, and see it a little bit clearer. So now we have our list of songs. Now that we want to basically loop through all the songs, what's going to happen is when we first load up the page, yeah, we can put a song source as the first song here. But ideally, what we would want to do is create a data property, and we're going to call it current song. Because if not, we are going to get an error at some point where we try to load the page and the current song is empty. We need to have a property in order to be able to have that in there. The next thing is we are also going to need an index. And this index is just going to start at 0. So now with this mounted lifecycle hook, we can do this current song equals this songs, and then we'll just have this index. So what that will ensure is that because we are always going to have songs, we're going to have it in the data property here, but we are also going to be bringing it in from the controller. So either way, we're always going to have a list of songs in this template. What we're just making sure is that that song is always the first song in the list of songs that we're passing into this page. So that's all that this line is saying. This current song equals this songs this index. So from this array here, it's going to be the first song, and the index will be 0, which is the song that we have in there. On the button for the songs, we can do @click equals play. But this play, we are going to be using the same play as this. So here we are actually going to have to pass the individual song. Let's come down to the play section. The play function or method, let's pass in the song. And then here we're going to say if type of song source, and that's the source that we're passing in, does not equal undefined, because that's what will happen sometimes, is that once the page loads and you go ahead and click play, that will be undefined. So we are going to give it a definition now. So if it's not undefined, we're going to say this current song equals the song that we're passing in, so any song from our array, and then we're going to say this audio source equals, we're going to pass in storage, because that's the folder that it's in. And then we're going to say plus this current song source. And then we can do this audio play. And then we can do this as playing is true. So let's see if this will allow us to play the rest of our songs. Okay, so let's try to click the first song. No supported source was found. Storage. This audio source equals this. Okay, it's already in the source. Okay, so we don't need to put that. We'll just keep it like this for now. But when we get ready to grab it from the database, we'll need it. So we'll go ahead and refresh it. Okay, so now if we click play, okay, it plays. See if the next one plays. It does. Okay, and so does the next one. And as you can see, the buttons also changed. Now the other thing we want to do is hook up these prev and next buttons. Come back to the text editor. And for the next function, we'll do this one first. So basically, we want to increment this index up by 1. So meaning if the first song starts at 0 as a 0 index, the second song will start at 1 index. So and that's what the next button will do. It'll just push it to the next one. So that's one thing that we want to do. The next thing we want to do is say if this index, we move this down a bit, is greater than this song's length, meaning if we have 5 songs and the index is, let's say, if when we increment it up, let's say the index now moves to position 5 or position 6 or position 7 after the end of the songs when we only have 5 songs, that's what this is checking for. So if it's gone past that, -1, then we'll put this index equals 0. If it has reached the end of the line, there's nothing left after that, and the index has gone up, we want to make sure that the index goes back to 0 so that it can start back to the first song, okay, instead of going on to songs that aren't there and then throwing up errors. Hope that makes sense. Now we can do this current song equals this song's this index. So now that's giving us the current song again, and then that'll be the new, where the new index is. So now we can do this play this current song. Easy. Now for the previous, we can copy this because it's very similar. And for this one, we are going to go back an index. And then here we're going to say if this index is less than 0, so if we've gone so far back that we've passed the first song, then this index equals this song's length -1. And then this current song equals this song's index, this play, this current song. So let's give this a try and see if we can make sure that this works. Okay, and so play. We'll go next. Okay, that's the next song. We'll go next. That's the next song. We'll go next. It's this song. We'll hit next again. We're back at the first song. Now we click previous. We're back to this one. Previous. Back to this one. And so forth and so on. Fantastic. So, okay. Now that we've done that, there's another way of using this audio element without actually using the audio element. To show you how we're going to do that, we are going to comment this one out, which should break our app, but it's not because we're going to do this. And then we're going to create an audio data property. And in this data property, we're going to say new audio. This is part of the audio element that we can use, which will basically make an audio element within our app without us actually having the element in the template. So now what we want to do down here is say, well, we can get rid of this. And then now under here, we can say this audio source equals this current song source. So this should theoretically do the exact same thing we just did without having the audio element in the app. And to prove to you that this audio element is now in our app, we can say this, well, let's do console log this audio. Okay, let's head back to the browser, we'll refresh, and then as soon as it mounts, we should be able to see the element. Okay, so now the audio element, it's there, but it is not displayed on the page. And as you can see, we have it right here, and it has our song loaded up. So now all of these things should be the same. Play. Pause. Next. Next. Okay. And click these. Everything works the same because we're still using our audio element. And if we take a look at the elements, you'll only see where this is commented out. You won't actually see the element within the app, but it is within the app. It's just sort of hidden. And that's just a web audio API thing. And I'm going to put all of that documentation down in the description too, so that you guys can take a look and see what kind of other things that it can do. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to push the code up to GitHub, and I'll also leave the link for that down in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.